Hi, welcome a new video of mine. As usual, you see here Patreon first, meaning that if you want to see this video earlier or even get access to the energy at play in this moment, get access to my Patreon page. It's very affordable and you'll get a lot for it. You even get to ask me questions that I will answer in new videos. You can suggest themes, subjects. There's a lot possible. So check the link in the description. So today's video, the importance of setting boundaries. By now you already know that most of my videos are literally about my personal experiences and also things I pick up around me. I see, I notice things my clients share with me or some friends. But it's all my interpretation. So you may see things differently, you may experience things differently, and that's totally okay. The reason I make the videos is to give you a different perspective from yours. Just like I watch other people's videos to get their perspectives, or I talk with people that I know will share with me their perspective on the things that I'm experiencing or observing. And that is crucial for personal growth, personal development, for evolving, for moving forward in life, or getting out of the situation we've been stuck in for a while. And even learning to get out of annoying situations um, quicker, in a smoother way. And this is very connected also to setting boundaries. The two are very connected. Setting boundaries and perspectives, yes, absolutely. You're probably like, why is he silent? Yeah, to let you actually take this in and maybe things start to pop up like, yes, I remember something. Well, good. Maybe pause the video if you want to remember completely the thing before listening to what I'm going to suggest. Because this is all about you doing the work, by the way. Working with me, whether it's being watching my videos or having a session with me or joining a workshop, is about you doing the work. Because you're not a car that I can fix and then it will run smoothly. I can show you my perspective on things. I can teach you some methods, but in the end, you need to find out what works best for you. And you need to dig within yourself to discover what's blocking you. I can only guide you, I can only recommend, I can advise, I can see things, but I will still see them from my perspective. So even if I see something, I will point it out like, hey, what I see in you or in your past is blah, blah, blah. Then you may remember the event, but you may have a different perspective on it. And your perspective is very important in that, in this. Yes, my perspective can help you see it from a different angle and maybe get a fuller view. But without your perspective on it, without your personal experience, you cannot transform because your experience, your perspective on what happened back then, what led you to be the way you are today, what led you to feel the pain, to be blocked, maybe even traumatized. So, boundaries. The moment you enter your home, you close the door, set boundaries. Like, okay, this is my space. People are not supposed to just walk in. Animals will not walk in, for example. But you may also lock the door. Or if you have a home with doors that can actually lock within the house, rooms that have doors that lock, then maybe at a moment you lock your door. That's also setting a boundary. Some people put signs on their door, maybe fantasy signs, funny signs, but signs to say, hey, you're not allowed in here. Why is that? Boundaries. It means my space, I don't want anyone in it. Or I will decide who I will let in based on how they behave. Borders are also boundaries. Borders are not a physical thing. Yeah, you may use a river as a border or a mountain chain, but still you can cross it. And from space, you don't see any borders, but it's a choice. It's a choice not to let in certain people, a choice to not let in a smell, for example. If you close the window when it's smelly outside while you're in the car or at home, boundaries can also be set in your relationship with people, in your interaction with people. A boundary can be I do not accept that somebody shouts at me, or I do not accept that somebody swears at me, or insults me, or says bad things, or swears in my proximity, or curses, or whatever. These can be boundaries. Boundaries can be the way people behave around you or towards you. And this can be a tricky one because somebody may not be saying anything, but you still feel like that person is invading your space, or you feel some energy coming from that person. So that's why you also have energetic boundaries that you can set. And I made a whole course about that, which is regarding grounding, cleaning, recharging, and shielding, setting the boundaries. What I experienced recently is that I had to increase the strength of my boundaries or move my boundaries or add some boundaries. I don't know exactly how to call it, but I've been setting boundaries already for many years. I started by setting them at work, not accepting certain behavior from my team leader anymore. And whether somebody likes it or not, I don't care. You want to fire me because I don't allow you to give me shit? Fine, do it. Um, I literally had such an experience, and then the day after, uh, I got an offer for a much better job, and I could leave the job where I had a supervisor who was really, yeah, yeah. And recently, the past year, actually, I've had some interactions with people, and I couldn't really figure out what was going on. And last week, I realized, I mean, things started to come together, started to make sense, and then this video pops up on YouTube, which is about setting boundaries, and then it all made sense. You know, these people that you call them Mr. or Mrs. Nice guy, nice lady. I was quite a nice guy. I was quite that nice guy. And doesn't mean that I cannot be nice, but I decided not to be the nice guy anymore. There's a difference between being the nice guy and being a nice person. So I consider myself to be a nice person. People may not always like what I say or what I do or what I do not do, because that's also a thing. But that's because I have my boundaries. I have my own needs. And I started putting my needs first years ago and had to fine tune that and improve that. And that is because I used to live a fear-based life. And majority of people on this planet are still living a fear-based life. So they act because they're afraid of something. They're not living a love-based life, which is acting out of love, doing something because they love to do it or they love what they're getting from doing that. A simple example of fear-based living and thinking is like, be careful, don't do this because. Love-based is, hey, enjoy what you're doing and pay attention to that thing because that's gonna bring you more pleasure, more joy, or smoothen your ride. If you just keep these two words in mind, love-based, fear-based, look around you about the communication, how people communicate, how the mass media communicates, how advertisement communicates. Scarcity is fear-based. I may miss out on something. There will not be enough. Or there's plenty and we would love to share with you, which is love based, which is abundance, not scarcity, not lack, not poverty. And so, personally, I love harmony in my relationship with people because I had my own experiences and I went through rough times in my life. And at some point, there would be people who would support me. And I really appreciated that. And I started to see more and more the value of what those people brought into my life. This strengthened me in wanting to help others. So I'm quite involved in this charity. If you're in Romania, it's called Unu și Un. And the last Un is this digit one, which means one and one, if you translate it. And Fundația Unu și Un, by the way. And I also have the habit to offer my help to people when I see like, oh, this is something I know a lot about, or hey, I'm heading that direction. Do you want me to get something for you from there? I'm not saying it's all good or it's all bad. I'm just saying that you need to feel why are you doing that, and also it's important to know that if somebody does not ask for help and you come with your help, you offer it or even push your help or you just start helping without them asking for it, they may not appreciate it. They may not appreciate it at all. They may be even upset. Or they may just take it but not value it. So you may invest a lot of time in helping somebody and they're just taking it for granted. And they may just say thank you and then they forget about it. And maybe one day, you'll need something and they'll be just dismissive. This doesn't mean that everyone you help needs to help you back. It's just that there is not balance in the relationship. For me, balanced relationships is important. So for me, true friendship is knowing that you can count on each other, knowing that you can say anything to each other. And you know the person is there if you really need him or her. But you'll also give them space when they need their space. And then figure out your shit by yourself at that moment. But where things go wrong is when people are so much helping or don't put boundaries at all and they become a yes man or a yes woman and they say yes to everything because they so badly want to be around that person or they want so badly to be liked by a person. And this can get tricky when you have romantic interest in somebody. Yeah, and this is what happened to me twice in a year and a half now. But then falling for someone who actually is not ready, who is scared to get close to somebody, but then they also enjoy the kind of attention they get. So basically, they start manipulating the game, consciously or unconsciously. But it's in such a subtle way that you may not notice it. Especially not if, like me, you can see somebody's potential, not where they are today, but what they can reach. You can see how great they are on the inside, but they cannot be that great yet because they have all these wounds, all these blockages, all this trauma that is keeping them from being really themselves. And so it gets a little bit foggy. And so you don't see what they're not doing, or what they're not saying. Or you're very patient because you're really nice and you're understanding and you're patient. You're giving them time and time and time. But in the end, your needs are not being met. But maybe every time they need something, you're available or you're often available. And so there is no balance. You want something, they may say, I don't want, but then they behave like they actually do want. So it's more confusion. Or they say they do want, but then at the same time they behave like they don't want. And that is something you see a lot. A lot of people say they want something, but actually the behavior is the opposite. And that's not just when it comes to relationship, romance, or something like that, but in general, people want abundance in their lives, but then the mindset is still a mindset of lack. And if you have a mindset of lack, how can you attract abundance? That is why people who win the lottery often lose everything very quickly because they do not know what abundance means. Because abundance is something that starts from within. Bashar had a very nice definition of abundance: having what you need when you need to have it to do what you need to do in that moment. End of definition. So abundance doesn't mean that you need to have a full fridge. It means that you need to have every day enough to eat well. Abundance doesn't mean that you need to have a heavy bank account with thousands or millions in it. Abundance can be that always around the time that your bill comes, money comes in. Around the time you need to go shopping for food or buy new jeans or new shoes, money comes in. And of course, most of us want to have reserves. But look at this, reserves. What does a reserve mean? It means being prepared for tough times, being prepared for when shit hits the fan. So it's fear based. It's the focus on the lack, not on the abundance. And the interesting thing is, and I've experienced that, is that because things are changing, because what we've been taught at school and even at work is only part of reality, we start to believe this. But I experienced for I don't know how long now, over a decade, actually at least 2 decades, probably 3 decades. Yeah, but I always had what I needed when I needed it. Always. Even when I was unemployed or I had difficult times, I always had what I needed when I needed it. So basically, I've been experiencing abundance without realizing it for most of the time. I was just focused on other people who had more in the bank account, so I felt poor. I was focusing on people who were doing things that I could not afford, but I would like to do because I wanted to be like them because it looked cool, but I didn't have the money for it. But the things that were really important for me, I did have the money for them. Even bad things, unhealthy things. But I wanted so badly. I needed it in my life. So, for some miraculous reason, I had money to do those things. And yet, I still had money to eat, to pay the bills, and everything. I'm looking back now like, wow, how did I do that? Because it was the path of my life. I didn't end up in a ditch or under a bridge. I always had a place to live. I always had the heating on when needed. I always had food to eat. I never was hungry in my life. Like really being hungry and not being able to eat because there was no food. No, I always had food. And me wanting to move to a next level, of course, we all have ambitions. But what are your motivations to change that? That's the important question. If your motivations are fear based, it will not work. If your motivations are love based, then you will grow to that next level where you can do those love based things, not the fear based things. And setting boundaries is very important in this because you may think I have digressed, but it's all connected. For me to experience love in my life, love from a lovely woman, from lovely friends, I need first to love myself. Me loving myself means respecting myself and putting boundaries not to let certain things into my life, not to accept certain behavior from people out of respect and love for myself. If I want to have money to do certain things with it, so more than the basics that I just described, but money to build something, to build a house or to do more for a charity, for example, I need to set boundaries so that I don't have parasites sucking me dry. Simple example. There are plenty of people who earn a lot of money, but then they attract a parasite, a man or a woman who just sucks them dry, who think, oh, this is a nice ATM, I can just keep taking money from them. And then these people need to keep working till they die almost, literally, like past the age of pension, past the age of retirement, because they have these bloodsuckers. And that's because they didn't set boundaries. So boundaries is you loving yourself. And some people may call you an egoist, but it's only because they cannot get from you what they want to take from you. Not your problem. If you don't feel to go someplace at a certain time, then you should not do it just to please them, because then you're not respecting your own boundaries. Your boundaries may be, hey, I need that time to rest. Or there is this other thing that will bring me more joy, more pleasure, or will be better for me in another way, like more educative or something else, or healthier. And if people cannot respect your choices, then they can go. Sometimes people invite you to a birthday party and you know who will show up there. And you're like, yeah, I'm not really in the mood for that crap. Especially if it's a lot of superficiality. Hey, how are you? That kind of fakeness, only superficial talks, or there will be only one subject that will always be discussing what's in the news or in the media, or whatever. And if that's absolutely not your interest, then don't go. You may say, okay, then this person doesn't belong in your life. Well, maybe that person is still living in two worlds, one foot in each world. The world where they go in depth when they're with you one on one, or with a small group of more of your friends. But then their group of friends is still the old, is still that superficial or whatever other thing that's not your cup of tea. Then, yes, they would like you to be there. But if it's going to cost you more energy to be there, and you're only going to be there because they need you to be there to feel good, then maybe they should look at their other friends. Maybe they should stand up for themselves, set their own boundaries, and let those people go. And then create space to actually have new friends, different kind of friends in their lives. So you're not serving them by going and pleasing them and spending a boring evening or even annoying evening, but you're serving them by saying, hey, sorry, but I don't feel comfortable around this kind of people. Yes, they're your friends. I respect that. But for your birthday, I'll invite you over and I'll make a nice meal for you, or I'll take you out or whatever. I'll cook for you. And then you still celebrate and you'll get some pastry or make some pastry and you put a candle in it and you light it. Everyone I've done that for loved it. I wouldn't tell them up front, but they would be surprised. I even did it online as I could not travel to that person. I just had the pastry and then with the candle on it, and they were like, oh, big smiles. So start looking at where you need to set boundaries in your life, probably in all areas of your life. And look at why you're setting the boundaries, what they're based on. Is it love based or fear based? Because very simple to say, oh, I don't want to do that. No, 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 no. Because people are afraid of the unknown, or they had one bad experience, and so they don't want to get even close to something. That's fear-based again. But you focus on, how do I want to feel inside? Good. Okay. What will make me feel good today? Now, I look, it's nice weather, so I want to go out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it like, oh, I should go now because later on today it will get cold again, or maybe tomorrow the sun will not shine. So, no, no. Today I want to feel good. And actually today I will also go to a market, and that involves a walk, and then I go somewhere else that will also involve a walk. So we'll be outside enjoying some fresh air. I live in a big city, but okay. But sunlight on my skin. I actually have another thing that involves a walk. Wow. Okay, I have three things that involve a walk today. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to stop this video. It's long enough. And again, this is a long video, but hey, this is what's coming up. I'm sharing it. And if you've been watching till now, then probably, or listening till now, then probably I inspired you somehow. I triggered something in you. So do something with it. And please let me know how you're setting boundaries, or where you feel that you need to set boundaries. And if you have difficulties doing it, you can ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of strength, is being smart, is doing the smart thing. If you don't know how to do something, or there's somebody who you clearly can see has much more experience than you, and you would like to learn from that person, then ask for help. So, looking forward to hearing from you, and see you in the next video. I'm going out now. Bye. Like, subscribe, and share.